What is up, people? What is up, people? This is Abraham Walker, and this is Where to Live in Northern Virginia. This is going to be your 2022. Okay, perfect. We have audio. We have audio there. Just want to make sure that the audio isn't too. This is going to be your 2022. Okay, perfect. We have audio. Excellent. Just want to make sure that background music isn't too loud for you all. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight is we're just going to walk through a presentation I use when I'm walking my buyer clients through the home buying process, right? So usually what happens, somebody reaches out to me, they say that they're interested in buying a home, and we set up a buyer consultation. In that buyer consultation, the very beginning part of the process is what's called a needs analysis. That's where we ask you a bunch of questions, try to find out what type of property you're looking for, your timeline, just to kind of get to pull as much information as we possibly can, right? At the end of that presentation, or at the end of that discussion, then we come to this little drawing presentation that I do for all my clients, our prospective clients, where I kind of walk them through the home buying process. And so I bought this fancy little overhead camera right up there to kind of walk you all through some of the presentations that I use in my actual business. Now, what you're going to learn in this session is you're going to learn about the five major players or entities that you're going to have in almost every real estate transaction. Then we're going to talk about the timeline of the transaction, and then we're going to talk about the actual process for buying a home, right? So from selecting an agent, talking to a lender, all the way down to your contingencies and closing, right? So watching this video, you should be able to have a firm grasp of what is going to be required of you to buy a home in 2022. Or really, I don't think that any of these processes will change in the future. They haven't. I've been in business for 13 years and they haven't changed yet. So that's where we're at. If you're watching this show live, let us know in the comment section where you're located at right now. This is something new for us where we're doing, we'll probably be jumping on more at night to kind of talk about like the steps to buying a home, steps to selling a home, these kind of detailed, nuanced parts of the real estate process versus our morning show, which is really just about getting to know the area, familiarizing yourself with the area. And the late night show will be kind of like technical questions, technical examples like this, right? So we'll see how this goes and see if it's well received or not, right? So the reason why I'm actually showing you all this particular presentation is just last week I was in a presentation with the buyer client and I drew it all out like this, right? So I can use the overhead camera in my buyer consultation, which are usually held via Zoom. And while I was doing the presentation, the prospective client was not speaking at all. They were just kind of taking notes. And I said, you could talk, you could say something. She's like, oh no, I mean, I think that you should probably record this for other people because this is so good that I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to say anything. So this is what this is. This is going to be I think a good visual for you to have an idea of what the overall market expects of you if you haven't bought a house, or even if you have purchased a house and you just need a refresher course, right? Because most people buy a home every 7 to 11 years. Okay, so enough rambling. Let's jump into this, right? So first of all, we're going to talk about the players. And these 5 players are usually in every real estate transaction, right? So first we start off with the agent, then we have your lender, and then we have your title company, right? So in Virginia, you will be using a title company, not an attorney per se. Now, title companies do have attorneys, but for the most part in Virginia, you'll be using a title company that has an attorney on staff, possibly, right? Then the next 2 players are the home inspector and the appraiser, right? this is sort of the timeline that they actually are getting engaged in the in the process as well. First, you start off with an agent, then you secure your lender, and then once you get under contract, you'll then start to interact with these three main players, right? These three other players, right? Now, in Virginia, I work in Northern Virginia, mostly Northern Virginia area, right? But I'm licensed in Virginia. So right now we're looking at 30 to 45 day closings, usually about a 30-day closing. But for this example, we're going to use 45 days as the typical time that you close from the time you put the house under contract, right? And so it's best to look at this part of the process in a timeline where we have the day you go under contract, which is going to be like day 0, right? And then we have the day you close, which is going to be day 45, right? And then the way I like to explain it is you have these mile markers in between the contract, which are going to be a third of the way through and then 2/3 of the way through, right? So this time before you actually go into contract is going to be like your due diligence, or not really your due diligence, but a part of the process of finding a property, and we'll kind of explain those steps down below, right? And so just remember, this day 0, this is actually when you go into contract. In Northern Virginia, that's called data ratification, right? So this is the day you ratify. Now, to make it easier to understand these different time intervals, we're just going to label them as phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. Okay. So now we understand that there's a timeline. We're going anywhere from 0 to we're going anywhere from closing from 30 to 45 days, and then everything starts, right? This little timeline starts officially when you go into contract, or otherwise known as ratified contract, right? So now let's go through the steps to buying a home, right? So what does the flow look like? The first thing you're gonna do is select an agent. If you're on this video right now, I hope you're thinking about interviewing with us. If you are, we actually have a link in the description to our perfect home questionnaire. It's very simple. You fill out that form online, and then we will schedule a time to meet with you via Zoom, sort of a similar session like this. We'll jump on that call. You can ask me any questions you want about the Northern Virginia area. And then I'll also answer any questions you may have about the real estate process. And then we can start working together, right? So the first step is to select an agent. Now, the next step is to actually select your lender. Sometimes people start with the lender or the agent. So I would say that these two pieces are interchangeable, right? Because it makes sense for you to start with the lender in the sense that you would know how much money, you would want to use to buy a home. But I actually think it makes much more sense. Of course, I'm biased because I'm a real estate agent. Of course, I just want to point that out. But I really do think it makes much more sense to actually start with the real estate agent, because the real estate agent will be able to help you either decide what type of loan you want to use. Not to say that they will get involved with your credit history or your financial information, but they'll be able to kind of walk you through what lenders have, what loan programs, what to look out for, right? Because even if you, like, for instance, even if you have a VA, even if you're eligible for a VA loan, which 20% of all our transactions are VA products, right? Our military personnel, you still have options even with the VA loan, right? You can do a straight VA, or you could do a VA paired with some type of first-time home buyer program, right? So there are options. So that's why I believe that you should go with the real estate agent first. When it comes to selecting a lender, right, there's a couple things. We already did a video well, actually, this is going to be it's in one of our live streams, but we're actually going to pull that video out, that clip out, and post it on our channel. But there's just two things that the lender will do when you first meet them, right? Or when you first interact with them. They'll either do something called desktop underwriting, which will give you a pre-qualification letter. Pre-qualify, right? Or they will meet with you, they will get all of your documents, and they'll give you an actual pre-approval letter. These are two different things. They hold different type of weight. With a pre-qualification letter, all you're giving the lender is you're going to give them your social security number, right? And you'll give them some estimate of like how much you make per year, right? So just an estimate. And then they spit out this letter. They spit out this letter and say that you can buy a house. Well, with a pre-approval, in addition to giving them your social security number, right? You're going to fill out an application, right? Also, you're going to give them your W-2s or your taxes, right? You're also going to provide them with your bank statements. And they're going to verify your employment. So what we're actually looking at is that these are two different processes. One of them takes a little bit longer, right? So you're probably looking to get pre-approved fully. You're probably looking at anywhere from a week to 3 weeks. First of all, you have to gather all the documents. You also, this process needs to go through what is called manual underwriting, right? Whereas this process here is called desktop underwriting, okay? So one is just a program that's ran, and then the other one is an actual human actually reviewing your paperwork. So these are the two options you have. I always recommend, my first option is for you to get pre-approved. I know it's going to take a long time, but you'll actually know if you could buy a house by going through the pre-approval process. Now, this is just this is a consolation prize. It doesn't hold the same weight. Like, look how much more work that's involved with doing the pre-approval process. It's just, it's a lot going on, right? So those are the first two steps. And then after you have you selected your agent, you've selected the lender, then we're going to actually start the third step, which is we're going to select, view, and discard properties, right? So in this actual step, now we're actually going out into the field. We're looking at properties and we're deciding what neighborhoods we like. We're deciding what type of property we like. We're deciding if the if the commute works for us, if the school system works for us. There's a couple things. This is just like a discovery period, right? And this is all happening in P1. All of this stuff that we're talking about right now is all in P1, right? This takes a little while, and I actually recommend that if you're a first time home buyer, or if you just relocated to the area, or you're not familiar with the area, that at least the first 3 properties that we go and tour, you walk completely through them, right? So I want you to walk the main level. I want you to walk the bedroom levels. I want you to go outside. I want you to walk the properties completely so that you can get some idea of what the online photos represent and what reality is, right? Because real estate agents, we use wide angle lenses for our photography, and it could be a little challenging. It could be a little challenging to decipher, this makeup that we put on houses until you go and see the properties face to face, right? So that's in step 3. And then in step 4 is we start to write offers. Now, many of you already know, excuse me. Many of you already know writing offers is a process now because there's such low inventory, right? So it's possible that you may be writing 2, 3, 4, 5 offers. If you're watching this in the springtime, then you just want to You just want to get used to writing offers. Now, in the old days, we used to actually physically write offers. Now we just do everything electronically. So it's not necessarily a written offer, but it is several electronic offers. So we'll go through that writing offers process. And then after we have all after we've written the offer and we actually negotiate with the seller, the next step is we have an accepted offer, which is in our area is called ratified. Right. So congratulations, you're under contract. Congratulations. We're now the clock has started ticking and we've done everything in phase one, right? So this is phase one. Okay. So in your contract, and depending on when you actually you're looking at a house, and also depending on how competitive the market is at the time you're looking at a house, we're now going through the process of removing contingencies, right? There's really three phases in the contingency process. And they're all kind of working sort of together, but sort of on different timelines, right? So the first contingency we have is the inspection. The next one is going to be the lender's contingencies. And then the third is going to be the title company. Okay, so with the inspection, we're going to put this next item in the inspection period just so you can kind of get an idea when you deliver this, when you do this next step. So first we have deliver earnest money deposit, right? So this after the contract has been ratified, your very first step is to make sure you deliver your earnest money deposit and you meet that particular term in the contract. Now, usually this is anywhere from 3 to 5 days after ratification, right? So we usually like to err on the side of caution and do 5 days, just so that if we go into contract on a weekend or on a Friday or something like that, you have enough time to actually get that money, that funds to the title company. So the title company will be holding that earnest money deposit, and we're seeing anywhere from 1% to 5% of the contract price that you ratify at. So it depends on the competitive nature of the market at that time, right? So we have delivered the earnest money deposit, and so now we have actually the home inspection you're going to complete. So in Virginia, or actually, especially in Northern Virginia, we have condos, we have townhouses, and we have single family homes, right? So with the condos, this isn't going to really relate to this because a condo inspection is relatively easy to do. It's just an interior inspection. You're looking at 2 hours of work. If it's a very large condo, like a penthouse that's maybe 15 to 2,000 square feet, which are rare. But if you are doing one of those penthouse condos, then you're probably going to look at 2 to 3 hours for that particular inspection. But for a townhouse, you're looking at anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. If it's a 2-car garage townhouse and it's one of those big boys, then you're probably looking at 3 to 4 hours. If it's a single family house, if it's a smaller single family house, you're looking at 2.5 hours. If it's a larger single family house, you're going to be looking at anywhere from 4 to 5 hours. If it's one of those estate homes, it's going to be an all-day affair. After you do the home inspection, there's another inspection that we always recommend to our clients on townhouses and single family homes, and that's going to be a radon inspection. A radon is an odorless gas that has been known to cause cancer, right? And so you want to find this out up front if this is an issue, right? And the remedy to this is relatively inexpensive, so it doesn't make sense to put yourself or your family in danger just get this inspection done immediately. Now, I know what some people are saying. If you already are from the Northern Virginia area, then you may say something like this. You may say something, I have a cousin, well, I live in a neighborhood. I know no one in this neighborhood has radon. And that's just not true. We live in Kingstowne, and we just sold a house, 2 months ago in Island Creek, which is right next door to Kingstowne. And they had extremely high radon levels in that townhome, right? And so my client got the radon mitigation system installed by the seller, and then they could sleep much more comfortably, right? So do yourself a favor, make sure you get that radon inspection as well, right? So after we do the home inspection, after we do the radon inspection, then there's going to come time to do a negotiation, right? But before we go and do the negotiation, I just want to kind of talk to you about the different types of home inspections, right? So the first home inspection is going to be, I would say this is just a traditional home inspection, right? Traditional? How do you spell that? Okay, we'll just say trad. Okay, excellent. So a traditional home inspection is one where the inspector comes into the property and they're going to look at all of the major systems, right? They're going to do a very thorough inspection. And then the seller is going to already know that you're going to negotiate something, right? So they may already come into this traditional inspection. They just know that you may ask for something. This is what the traditional inspection is for. It's to verify the condition of the property. The next home inspection is if you're in a tough market, right? And there's several competitors, right? So maybe there's like one or two offers on the table. Then the next option that you have is actually called like an option to void. And so this used to be called for informational purposes only. They told us to stop using that term, right? So don't call it that, but some of the old agents still call it this. Anyway, option to void is where you are going to do a full home inspection, but you only have two options. You either void the contract or you move forward, right? So there isn't any other negotiations at that point. Let's see. I think there's no questions. Okay, perfect. So there is no negotiation at this point, supposedly. Now, I just want to let you know, we've been selling in real estate in this market since 2013. And if you go into contract with a property with option to void, and I help buyers and sellers, so I'm giving you the facts about option to void. If it turns out that the buyer, if the AC unit is 5 years old or 12 years old or something like that, and the buyer is hesitant about moving forward, then don't just void the contract. Ask the seller for something, even if you're in the option to void. Now, we don't have any contractual language to make the offer, so there's some ways to get around that. But I just want to let you know, like, even if you're in the option to void, we sometimes just still treat it like a traditional home inspection, just to be honest with you. I just want to be honest with you, right? Because the goal is to get the house under contract. Because you got to remember, this is the goal. The goal is to move from phase one to phase two, right? So that's the second type of home inspection, right? So these are types of home inspections. I got to say, I love these presentations where you just take a blank sheet of paper and you just fill it up with information. Okay, so we have traditional, option to void, right? And then also, if you're watching right now, if you want to ask me any questions, you can. I'll be on until I finish this presentation, so I'll be sure to answer anything that you have. Okay, so these two home inspections occur after you're under contract, right? So there is a third type of home inspection, which is called a walk and talk. Okay. This is a unofficial home inspection. So what happens here is, so let's say, for instance, so this boy right here costs, let's say that this is between, with the radon inspection, let's say that this is between 600 to 800, and this is between 600 to 800 as well, right? Okay, so the walk and talk inspection is when the market is just brutal, and like you've lost so many offers, and the houses are selling like hotcakes. Like they're selling before they even come on the market. Sometimes they're selling while they're in the coming soon phase. They're selling within days. They're like things are crazy, but you still don't feel comfortable about buying a house without a home inspection. The walk and talk inspection is actually where you contract with the home inspector. They walk the property with you, and they essentially just talk to you about the major systems. Now they will conduct an analysis or an assessment of the main systems in the property, right? Because if you think about it, the home inspection is really your opportunity to ensure that the major systems work, right? And so if we think about like the things that cost the most amount of money, we're thinking about the HVAC system, we're thinking about the hot water heater, the water heater, we're thinking about the roof, right? We're thinking about any kind of any mold issues. What else? Those are kind of the major things I'm thinking about. Oh, you know what? We're thinking about like whether like windows and hardware works, right? Doors and stuff like that. Because a window costs anywhere from $250 to $500 a piece. So if they have shoddy windows, you want to know about it. Anyway, so the walk and talk is really just the home inspector walking around talking about these major systems, right? Now, this inspection actually happens when you're viewing properties. So you're actually going to do a walk and talk inspection when you view a property. So how does the walk and talk inspection works, right? So in Northern Virginia, most houses come on the market on a Thursday, right? So houses come on the market on a Thursday. The listing agent will hold off to review offers until Monday or Tuesday, right? So this is how our market works. So the house comes on the market on a Thursday, right? So this is day one. Usually there's maybe an open house on Saturday or Sunday, and then they'll review offers on either Monday or on Tuesday. Okay. So the way you would do a walk and talk inspection is you would actually, we try to get you to see the property at least on Thursday or Friday, right? This is an extreme example. Okay. So, and this is what happens usually in the spring market. We try to get you to see a house on a Thursday or a Friday, and then make a decision on whether or not you want to move forward with that particular property. Now, we do not consult you to never get a home inspection. We will never tell you to do that. That's not how we roll. But we will tell you to go view the property on Thursday or Friday if the property is a property you'd like to move forward with, but we know it's going to be hard to win the contract with the option of void or a traditional home inspection. Then we'll tell you to do a traditional we'll tell you to do the option number 3, which is a walk and talk inspection. The walk and talk inspection, it's really an unofficial inspection because there's no report, right? So there's no report. Okay, there's no report. So we see the property on Thursday or Friday. You say, okay, Abraham, I want this property. Let's get it. Then we'll try to get you into a second showing either on Saturday, Sunday, or even early Monday with the home inspector. Now, what we'll do is we'll already have the offer written up for you, and then we will be viewing the property again with the home inspector so they could check these major systems so that you can make a definitive answer on whether or not you will purchase the property, right? So that's the third home inspection option. Now, the fourth option is it's not an option that we suggest, but it is an option, and that's no home inspection. You know, this is the riskiest of them all. So if we think about and one more thing, the walk and talk inspection is usually anywhere from $250 to about $400. So it depends on the size of the property, right? We like the guys who do our walk and talk inspection. So if you work with us, we can definitely share that information with you. Okay. So then there's the no home inspection, right? Now, if you think about it, this is least risk to most risky, right? So you really have to kind of determine where you are on this line, right? If you don't mind, if you don't mind risk, then you may just say, hey, look, I like the way it looked. I'm fine with moving forward. We will never recommend this to you. There's three other options for us to choose from, right? So we have the least risky, which is traditional, option avoid, walk and talk, and no home inspection. Okay. Now that we got that out the way, all right. So in the home inspection phase, we've delivered the earnest money deposit, we've conducted a home inspection, we've done the radon inspection, and we have come to terms, right? Come to terms with the seller. This all happens in phase 2. Okay. So everyone really in the transaction, remember we have these players, the agent, lender, title company, home inspector, appraiser. Everyone in the transaction is kind of waiting for the buyer to move out of phase 2 to really start their work. Now, the title company has some work that they'll do in this phase 2 as well, but they won't really start getting their hands dirty until you have already gotten out of your home inspection, because you could cancel the contract right here, right? This is the only way you can really get out of the contract outside of the reviewing the HOA documents. We may talk a little bit about that, but this video is already going a little bit longer than I anticipated. Okay. So now we have the lender phase of the contingencies, right? So we're out of the home inspection. Now we're into the lender phase of the contingencies. If you had a pre-approval done, then the same steps are going to be taken in this phase as well. So it's almost like the lender is going to double check the information that they already pulled for you. But let's just go over that again. They're going to check your credit. They're also going to complete their manual underwriting. The underwriting is going to just be contingent now on the appraisal and the title search for the property. In this underwriting phase, they're going to do the same process that we see right here, right? So they'll look at your Social Security, make sure they check your credit. They'll also pull your application. They'll check your taxes. They'll also make sure they check your bank statements. Depending on what type of loan you're using will determine like how many bank statements they'll want. But you should just start gathering that information now if you know you're going to buy a house soon. And then they'll just verify your employment as well. The next step that happens in the lender phase is the appraisal, right? The appraisal is ordered. Usually, some lenders will order the appraisal in phase 2. This is still risky because the appraisal usually costs anywhere from $500 to $700. So that's a hard cost that's going to come out of somebody's pocket. And if you decide that you're going to cancel the contract during the inspection period, then that money's already gone. And then you also have homeowners insurance. Well, let's call it home insurance, right? Now, with the insurance, since I have you here and you're watching, you guys need to stop getting insurance at the very last minute. This insurance price, the price for the insurance could be skyrocket. I mean, it could be so high that it changes your opinion of the property, right? Like if the property had too many claims, that could limit the number of carriers that would actually insure the property. You may want to get flood insurance. Like there's all these different things that you want to worry about or concern yourself about insurance. If I were you, I would actually start the insurance process in my home inspection process. But I just want to let you know, the only person that's waiting for the insurance is the lender, so that's why it's in this category. But if I were you, right, and you wanted to make sure that you took all of the stress off of you as much as possible, then I would verify my insurance in the inspection phase, right? Then the last thing that happens in the lender side is the lender may request a survey. I haven't seen that done yet in my 13 years, but that is an option that the lender could do. The lender could force your hand on ordering a survey. The To get a survey, though, I would say that if you're buying a single family home, then I would recommend you getting a survey. If you are, and the reason why is because with a single family home, you have more yard that you're responsible for, so it's harder to gauge what part of the property is your particular property, right? If you have a townhouse, I don't really recommend getting a survey for a townhouse unless you know you're going to be redoing the fence or you're going to be installing a deck. If you're going to be installing the deck or remodeling the deck, then sometimes the HOA will actually request that you get a survey for that purpose. So so in the lender phase, this lender phase is going to all happen in phases 3 and 4. Really phase 2, 3, and 4. But usually lenders do like a hurry up and wait type of system. So a lot of it's going to happen in phase 3 and 4. All right, so now we're down to the last contingency part of the process, which is the title company. So the title company is the individual. If you've never purchased a house in Virginia, the title company is really like the person who ensures that the buyer's the buyers, the seller's the seller, make sure that the seller can sell the property. They also receive the funds from the lender and transfer it. Um, yeah, receive the funds from the lender, transfer it to the seller, make sure the seller gets their money. So the title company has a important role, and in Virginia, at least, the buyer selects the title company. The seller can choose to have what's called a split settlement, where the seller can incur an additional fee to have their own title company as their quasi representative. But just know that the title company really isn't your lawyer or attorney for the transaction. They are essentially the representative of the transaction. So they're there to make sure that the transaction actually occurs, right? So one of the things that the title company does is they're going to conduct a title search, and this is where they ensure that the chain of title is not broken or the chain of ownership isn't broken. So that means that they want to make sure that you can actually purchase the property from the seller. The next thing they're going to do is, which I find is the second most important thing they do is they want to remove any encumbrances, right? So an encumbrance is like a lien. So if you have a tax lien on the property, if there is a mortgage on the property, the title company is responsible for removing that that lien or that dark spot, right? That blemish on the property, and give it to you, the buyer, with nothing on it, right? So it's a free and clear property, minus your lien your new lien that you're going to put on it, which is most likely your mortgage. The last thing that the title company is responsible for is to obtain title insurance. Right? So they're going to issue you title insurance on the property. In my opinion, the lender gets title insurance. So I don't see. I know that we've had buyer clients who've actually opted not to receive title insurance. It's just such a risky move because you either, unless you're already independently wealthy and you could actually afford attorneys to fight the a claim on your property, then it just makes more sense just to get the title insurance, right? And this allows you to ensure that this gives you insurance on the ownership of your property to make sure nobody files a false claim against it. And this is all done by the title company. So this process as well, this happens in P3 and P4. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, germs and clean things, that's it. So this is the home buying process, and this will get you through. I know this video was filmed in 2022, but I think that this will probably get you through any period of time in the next 10 or so years. I don't think the real estate transaction is going to change much. So let's just do a brief little overview of this process for anybody that came late. If you have any questions about the home buying process, be sure to put them in the comment section and I'll be sure to answer them. Okay, so we have the players in a real estate transaction, the agent, the real estate agent, realtor. Then we have the lender, title company, home inspector, appraiser, right? A traditional real estate process takes about 30 to 45 days from the date of ratification, right? Or the date that you go under contract. This is the date that you and the seller have agreed on moving forward with you buying the seller's property and you giving the seller money, right? So we have these four different phases of the process. We have phase one, which is going to be you select your agent, select your lender, select, view, and discard properties, write offers, accept, ratify on a contract, right? And then with the select a lender phase, we have these two options that you're getting from the lender, which is either pre-qualify or pre-approval. With the pre-qualify, this is called desktop underwriting. This is where they really just take your social security number, do a credit check, and you give them an estimate of how much money you make per year. Then we have the pre-approval, which is my preferred option for all clients, which is where they still do the credit check, but they also conduct the full mortgage application. You provide them with your W-2 or your tax documents, and also bank statements for some predetermined period of time, and they verify your employment. This is called manual underwriting, right? And so that's what the lender is for. Let's just draw this arrow right here. And then with the select and view properties, if you're not used to this particular area, or if this is your first time buying a house, I recommend that you at least you fully view the first three properties that you're viewing when you're in the select, view, and discard phase, right? We want you to get a better idea of what it's like to see a property in person versus see a property online, because most of the process, everything really starts online with these wonderful photos, with these wide angle lenses that distort the property, right? And so you're trying to get an idea of what does this particular room looks like with a wide angle lens, or the way the real estate agents are filming it. Then we have write-in offers. So write-in offers can take anywhere from, you can get your first property to, if you're buying a house in the springtime or summertime 2022, then you may have to do several offers on properties just to get one under contract. Then we have accept, ratify. This is where you and the seller have agreed, the buyer and the seller has agreed to move forward with the contract, and they've agreed on the terms. Now you're moving into the contingency phase. With the contingency phase, there's three different contingencies. There's inspections, there's the lender, and then there is the title company. Now, I put this in here just because this is what happens next, but you're going to deliver your earnest money deposit within 3 to 5 days, not business days, 3 to 5 days. We like to err on the side of 5 days to give our clients enough time to deliver the deposit, if it's a weekend or a holiday or a bank holiday or anything like that, right? Because usually this needs to be, no, I don't think this has to be in a money order. I think it could be with a personal check, but I'm not sure. It depends on the title company you're using. Okay. So in the inspection phase, you're going to conduct your home inspection. In Virginia, we have a lot of properties that have radon. Radon is an odorless gas that is known to cause cancer. So we highly recommend that you also get a radon inspection. And there are 4 types of home inspections, right? So you have a traditional home inspection, which you're probably already used to, which is where the home inspector is going to inspect these major systems, HVAC, the water heater, roof, mold, check the doors, windows, and stuff like that, right? The seller knows you're going to negotiate here. Then there's the option to void, or also in the olden days called informational purposes only. Both of these home inspections cost $600 to $800. With the option to void, this gives you only 2 options. Either you're going to move forward with the deal, or you're going to destroy the deal. You're going to kill the deal, right? I still recommend that even if you're in the option to void phase of the process, that you still negotiate with the seller. You still come back at them with whatever you think would be suffice to not kill the deal, right? The next home inspection we have is called a walk-in talk. A walk-in talk is no report. You get no reports. With these two, you get a report. With this one, there's no report. Also, is much cheaper. It's $250 to $400. The home inspector will just walk around the property and talk to you about the major systems This is only a tool used in extreme conditions when the market is red hot, properties are selling either before they come on the market or within minutes of coming on the market. This is a this is something that you're probably using in the spring market this year, probably in some parts of the early summer market, but I don't see us using this throughout the year just based on the way this year has already started. Then we have no home inspection whatsoever. This is super risky. This is the most risky thing, and we do not recommend you ever buy a house without getting a home inspection. There's a couple reasons why. Number one, even if you've seen the property, you've only been in the property for what, 15 minutes maybe? 15 minutes isn't enough time to be able to assess whether or not you are making a good decision on a $500,000 or a $700,000 or $1.4 million property, right? That's why one of the reasons why we don't recommend not doing a home inspection, because the home inspection is really your opportunity to really see the property for what it is, right? And for the systems that make up the property, right? So we'll never recommend you do that. And it is the most risky of all of the options, okay? So that's in the home inspection. That's in the inspection phase, and that happens in phase 2. Now, in the lender phase of removing the contingency, the lender is going to do the same thing that I already recommended that you do for your pre-approval. If you do have an official pre-approval where they've done all these items, this part of the process is super easy, because what they're probably going to do here is that they're just going to ask you for updated bank statements, right? Because everything else is going to change. They're still going to verify your employment again, just to make sure you still have your job. Because some people are, I've heard horror stories of people losing their jobs while they were buying a house. And then the underwriting is the manual underwriting, or where the bank determines that they will issue the loan for you, will be contingent on the appraisal being done. The appraisal has to be ordered by the lender, right? And then that's sometimes ordered in phase 2 of the process. Usually is ordered in phase 3, because this is a hard cost of anywhere from $600 to $800. And so the lender kind of wants to make sure that you're getting out of the home inspection, because this is the only time you can cancel the deal outside of reviewing the HOA documents. We won't cover the HOA documents or the condo documents here, but those two places are the only 2 places you can really get out of a deal, right? Reviewing your HOA docs and the home inspection. Okay. So the next thing, the lender contingency phase is going to be your home insurance. This is hazard insurance, homeowners insurance, or flood insurance, right? If you're living in the flood zone, I don't recommend that you actually wait to get this done in phase 3, 4 of the process. I would like to see you get it done in the inspection phase, because we want to know how much this insurance is, because it's going to affect your monthly cost. And what if the insurance is so high that you really don't want to move forward with the property? We could just get out of the contract in the home inspection phase. Okay. Lastly, we have a survey that will be performed, or it's optional, right? So for surveys, I recommend it for all of my clients who are buying single family homes, so that in the event they have some type of dispute with their neighbor over the fence line, or they want to put a new fence up, they already have that piece of that document prepared for them. And then for my townhouse clients, I recommend that they get a survey if they plan on putting up a fence, or if they're going to redo the deck. Usually HOAs require that you have some type of survey done. The last contingency is going to be the title contingency, that's done by the title company, and they're going to conduct the title search, which is to make sure that the seller owns the property, is the rightful owner of the property, and they can sell the property. They, for instance, the husband in a husband-wife situation, if the husband is selling the property or is the only name on the property, the title company will find out, make sure that they track down the wife or the spouse, and to ensure that individual also wants to sell the property. Remove any encumbrances, which is where you remove any liens, like the mortgage, the previous homeowner's mortgage, or any tax liens or any kind of other liens maybe put on by the local government. And lastly, we have obtained title insurance. This is insurance to protect your ownership share of the property in the event that somebody tries to lay a claim against it, right? So So that's it. So that's the home buying process for 2022. Man. So like I mentioned earlier in this video, I actually do a similar presentation for my buyer clients when we do our buyer consultation. Towards the end of my, I guess, last week's presentation with a buyer client, I was drawing all this up, and my client was super quiet on our Zoom session, and she said she thought I should record this for other people to see. So that's what we have here. So now I'll just be able to send this to my clients in the future, and yeah, that'll be it. I do enjoy presentations like this just because it gives you an opportunity to kind of display the whole process. Also, by writing it out, you don't skip any steps per se. So that's it. If you have any questions, post them in the comment section. I will be here I'll do like another 5 minutes or so. I'll turn the music up a little bit, and then yeah. What do y'all think about this presentation? Let me know. I don't know if anybody's even watching. We don't really do live streams at this time of night. I'm much more of a morning live stream type of guy. So let's see. I don't think we have any comments right now. Maybe I've done such a great job that there are no comments. Oh, you know what? If you're ready to start the home buying process, or even you're thinking about selling a home and you got to buy a home, in addition to that, there is a link in the description to our perfect home questionnaire. Fill out that questionnaire, and we will schedule a Zoom session, something similar to this. I'll answer all your questions about the real estate market and also about the real estate process. And then I also have a couple questions of my own. And then we can move forward with getting you what you want. All right. So what y'all think about the music that's on? Is this music fine? This is music by Music Bed, company we have a subscription with. All right. Gotta say, I really do enjoy this overhead camera. Man, this really opens up so many other types of presentations we could do, right? We could do a little math presentation. We can do just a real discussion about something, right? Sometimes it's just easier to explain something when you just have like a little document in front of you. All right, so we'll stay on until this next song goes off. Well, while I have you here, I got this new chair recently, new to me at least. It's called a Hag Capisco chair, and I gotta say, it is super comfortable for these types of presentations, right? There's no back onto it, so I have an ergonomic chair, office chair, and that thing is super comfortable, but it has a large back to it, so you could see everything. You could just see everything, and I don't like that for these presentations. But this right here, I got a little armrest on it. It's pretty cool. I really enjoy this particular chair. I've had it for like almost 2 weeks now, and it was a good purchase. Found it on Facebook Marketplace. Although I want to buy another one for the missus, because I think that they're I just think that they're a huge value add. I mean, it just make it enhances the experience, at least for the presenters, right? And I want to make sure my wife has it. She has a good feeling while she's doing all these live streams. The missus has been doing a good job with the live streams too. I mean, she does a lot of the research for most of the live streams we do. So she's been doing a really good job. I hope you all have been liking that content that we've been slinging at the beginning of the day. Oh, wow. I can't believe this is 54 minutes. This was much longer than I anticipated. But now it's out there. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about I can just send this to my peeps in the future. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining me tonight, and I will see you on the next video, which will be on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.